Alright guys, I want to do a quick video on the Delta 14 chassis. There's not a lot of info out about them. Weapons clear. This is a standard GI 90s production Springfield Armory in a 22-inch, and it's in a Delta 14 chassis with a Mesa Tactical. This is a modified Gen 2 adapter, and I'll talk about that. So what we have is just a full-length GI, nothing special, rack grade M14, and we got a CTR buttstock Mesa Tactical. This is a Reptilia grip that I modified. Standard Gen 2 Delta 14. You can tell by the vertical lines here. It's a Gen 2. Comes up to Harris BRMS on a ARM 17 adapter on a pick rail. And Springfield, or this is a Smith Enterprise gas lock front sight. And then this is an adapter, I can't remember the name, starts with an H, that adapts from M14 threads to 5/8 24, and then this is a 5/8 24, just AR-10 flash hider in an A2 variety. So, quick thoughts about the chassis. This is very light system, especially with your bipod off. This is a Nikon 3-12, but it's a pretty light scope for the size. But it's very light, it's very handy. So your balance point, I mean, you're not that bad. It's basically right actually where that, like the ham bone area of the stock is, right here where you're going to be holding it most of the time. So I ended up putting a little Magpul, little grip from one of their, I don't know, one of their hand stop kits. This was like the rear part, but this actually I can grab with my hand and kind of move it around a little bit, or get behind it, in front of it, however I want it, break my fingers with it. But this is a great area for your center of balance. Your center of gravity is right there, so it's not front heavy or rear heavy. The stock chassis, well, the chassis from here to here weighs 3/4 of a pound, they say, and then the Mesa Tactical is aluminum, and it's, I think compared to Sage EBR, I believe it's that chassis system's like 2 pounds by itself. So this setup right now, I weighed it on the scale. It was, I believe, 11.2 pounds without the mag and the bipod, I believe, and that's with scope and stock and everything. So it's very comparably weighed to like a fiberglass stocked, fully kitted out optic M14. So it's very, very light. I mean, I could pick it up with one hand. It's totally, this is not even a problem. Very, very easy. It's not heavy on the front or the back or anything. And your length of pull, it's actually real nice. I usually use it right about here, but if I put the stock all the way in, I can still get right up on the optic. So if you have body armor or, you know, vest or something like that on there, you can still get up on the weapon, and it goes very, very far out for very long length of pull. This is just a normal M4 buffer extension. This is a 4-position Colt style, so that'll be your first position. So the Mesa Tactical, what I had to do is, right here you can see this bump in. They actually had the grip, it was kicked forward. I don't know why Mesa Tactical did this, but there's 3 different kind of designs. There's a Gen 1 where it's, the grip is flat like this, and then it's longer right here, and it works, but this is farther out. Then they have I'm calling it a Gen 1.5, where it said Mesa and then Tactical below it, instead of Mesa Tactical on one line like this, and the grip was the LEO adapter. So it was short like this, grip the same angle, and then they have a Gen 2, which if you buy it right now, their Gen 2 adapter, you can't find the Gen 1 unless you go on Gunbroker, eBay, and find like a used one, but their Gen 2, which is what this is short, and your grip angle is much increased. So this would be almost vertical, and it just looks weird, especially if you're trying to run more vertical grips. Your A2 grip will be back a little bit. So I don't know why they did that or whatever, because this is for Mossberg 500s for the shotguns. But on this setup, I wish that they would get with Delta 14 and make an adapter just for this chassis, because this is how it needs to be set up. And then they need to turn the back to where a regular A2 fits, because this right now you can't fit, if you buy a like a M1A or something like that, it won't fit. You have to chop it off. It's pretty simple. You chop it off dead flat with the rest of it, like I did here, and then you just take a file and round that in. It's not like you're switching grips out all the time. But I noticed on this one, this grip is higher up than where it used to be, and because of that, I prefer a K grip, because when I grip, I'm left-handed, but I can show you here, a full-size grip is going to hang down lower, and you're going to be farther away, and your angle is going to be very weird. So for me, this is actually very nice right here. Again, we're clear. But this is much easier for me to get in there, and it keeps my hand up higher, like where the sage is. It's not down low. You don't want that because you get really far away. So this is very nice and easy for me to get onto. So other than that, I really like the way this fit into the chassis. It was like when you buy a brand new wood stock or something and everything fits in. It wasn't tight, it wasn't loose, it wasn't sloppy. It went in, and when you push in firmly, and it slides in and it stops. And I put in the trigger group, and once I did that, I had to tap right here just once or twice with a soft mallet, rubber mallet, tapped it once or twice, and then it locked over. And you can get this open with the Mesa Tactical on here. You do not have to take this off. So you can pull this back. You have to get in there with maybe a piece of brass or something soft, or you can put a screwdriver in there and pull back on both sides and then pop it out. It's actually pretty easy. I don't intend to take this out, but it was inletted very well. This is just a standard GI barrel, but it had plenty of room in there. This came black. I painted it, obviously spray bomb, but the magazines fit in really well. There's nothing wrong with this. I had no issues with this. It fits very, very well in there. No issues at all. No binding on anything. I didn't have to file or cut anything. Everything's really nice. I work with injection molded plastics, and this was made very well. There are sprues coming right here, and they break that off right there. So that's where the plastic's coming in the center, and it's molded very well. There was no lines. I had to file anything. It wasn't like something from China. This is made in Michigan. I believe the company contracts it out for another Michigan company to actually do the molds for them to inject the plastic. But this company is completely US based. The guy's an M1A guy, and you can call him on the phone and he will talk with you. So it's a very good small company, but it's very well made. There's a couple little, warbles and things from the mold process, but it's not a crap stock. It's pretty tight, pretty like stable. It's not like, it flexes a little bit. It's not crazy, but I don't mind that because I had to adjust this tension anyway. So when you're using a bipod, which I never was able to use a bipod on an M14 because of all the chassis, the wobble from the stock and contact points, and doing this would just change your zeros. So this does wiggle a little bit. I have about 5 thou pressure up here. I had to take the front ferrule off and file it down just to get the pressure I want, which is fine. It's part of M14s to get that contact pressure right. And then I ended up relieving, this is a USGI, it's a brown handguard. So I ended up relieving here, taking this off and filing with a flat file, bastard file, straight cut, until I got no contact here. So I can wiggle this left and right, and that's not gonna change my point of impact or anything, but this isn't contacting the chassis. So it's actually, the chassis staying pretty still, and this is just kind of the front end of the weapon hanging over. But it doesn't touch unless I'm really pushing on it. I'm not going to be shooting like that. So this worked very well. I really like the system. It's super light and handy. It completely changed the way it feels. It feels like a Sage stock, where you get a vertical, more vertical pistol grip and a tight back end. This would be like a Mod 1 kind of style. And this is an arms mount on here, and everything fit on fine with that. There was no issues with the chassis. It didn't obstruct anything. So I just wanted to make a video. Again, we're clear, so I'll flip it around. This is the other side of it. But everything fit very, very well. I'm very happy with this. Again, it's a Springfield Armory, just regular cast receiver, nothing special from the 90s, and it fit very, very well. So there you go. I know there's not a lot of videos out there. It doesn't mean it's because it's a crappy chassis. They're just a smaller company. It's a side venture that they wanted to do, and they did a very, very good job with it. I'm extremely happy with it. I have 2 other M1As, and I would love to put them in the chassis as well, but I like to keep them different. But I would have no problem with suggesting this. We just got to get the Mesa Tactical on board with making this horizontal grip, because then you can have an A2 or your K grip or whatever you want, and it would fit very good. So I don't know why, I haven't called them directly, but I don't know why they changed that. Again, there's up here, I didn't talk about it, but these are M-lock panels. So I can pop these off. These are just BCM covers, but it is M-lock slots on the sides and the bottom. And I just have them covered so nothing gets in there. And it's really neat because you can actually pull them off and check your action and check all your gas piston and your op rod and everything in here, especially on this side and the bottom, and you can see all in there. So that's kind of cool for, you know, doing lube on your op rod and everything, kind of general maintenance. It actually improves that. So I really like the stock. It's shooting 200 yards. I'm doing a nice big group out there on my steel popper. So I wouldn't say it made it more accurate. I would say it made it easier, more ergonomic, and it didn't hurt my accuracy at all. I've shimmed the gas system, I've tuned it, I've done the pressure on the front ferrule, you know, took away the front sight base and the lock ring and all that and all the pressure up there. So I made the system better and it just worked well with it. So I wouldn't say it made it better accuracy, or I definitely wouldn't say it made it worse. So it just improved the ergonomics and the overall feel of it. If you put this in a SOCOM, this would be awesome with a SOCOM 16 right here, or your Scout at 18.5, like right about here. It'd be even better if you put a red dot or something lightweight. You could probably get the thing. I think I had it without the scope, without the bipod, without anything. I think it was right around 9 pounds, like a stock GI. It was like right under what a GI was with a wood. It was the same as a GI with a fiberglass, pretty much. So kind of a cheat code, bringing the M14 in the 21st century. So I hope that helps. There's not a lot out there on it, and it's not because it's a bad system. It's just not well known yet. So we'll get it there.